What's up, everybody? This is CJ at Hidden Assets, and today I have a very special announcement to make to you. Today, we have a brand new Dune Imperium that's going to be coming out. It's just announced by Direwolf Digital yesterday. I just woke up and the Discord was blowing up, and so I had to come over and do a reaction video for you guys. So today we're going to be taking a look at what we know about Dune Imperium Uprising by Direwolf Digital. So this looks like, right off the top, going to be coinciding with Dune 2, the film release, probably. I don't know when it's going to be coming out, but we'll get to that in a second. It's called Dune Imperium Uprising, and I love this box art, man. This is so good. So standalone game, so you will be able to play this without the other stuff, without all the expansions or anything else from Dune Imperium. However, I have been told in Discord that someone who is closer to the project knows that this is compatible with the other expansions, so with Ix and Immortality. So just putting that out there. I don't know how that exactly works, but we'll get to it in a second. So first off, we have a brand new board. A brand new board that that looks completely different in a lot of ways, and very similar to those of you who've played a lot of Dune Imperium. A couple things to note: we have some new tokens here. Looks like sandworm tokens that are going to probably be taking the place, I'm guessing, of things like the dreadnoughts. We have a bunch of other tokens here we'll come to in a second, and some example cards. Looks like Desert Call, Wheels Within Wheels, Steersman, Usul, and Price is No Object. So we can only see really Price is No Object and some of these other ones, but this one looks pretty sweet. This is an Emperor Bene Gesserit card that costs 6 and gives you 2 Solari when you buy it, and when you play it as an agent, you can acquire a card to your hand using Solari instead of Persuasion. That seems pretty sweet. That's always neat. We already know that taking cards directly to your hand with Tleilaxu Master is very strong, but this is a cost, so I like having a cost associated with these very powerful effects, so that's great. A couple things here. No, Desert Call and Usul have a starter deck icon, so very excited to see that maybe we'll be getting some brand new starter decks, some starting 10 cards for the different players, so we'll have like asymmetric starts. That makes me pretty excited. So Steersman looks like general spacing guild card. We just draws you a card. There may be something else there, maybe a dagger, I don't know. And Wheels Within Wheels has an interesting little icon there. We don't know what that means either, so it's a mystery, but we'll get back to that in a little bit. All right, let's take a look at what they say here. Uprising is a standalone sequel that expands on Dune Imperium's blend of deck building and worker placement. Continue to balance military might with political intrigue, wielding new tools in pursuit of victory. Spies will shore up your plans. Vital contracts will expand your resources, or learn the ways of the Fremen and ride mighty sandworms into battle. Plus, a new 6-player mode pits 2 teams against one another in the biggest struggle yet. The choice is yours. The Imperium awaits. The 6-player mode sounds awesome. I'm very excited about that. It's just taking a look at some of the stuff. So let's start over here. We've got Muad'Dib. I can zoom in here. Can I? Does that even make it bigger? There it goes. Muad'Dib, House Atreides. Obviously replacing Paul Atreides. Unpredictable foe. Reveal turn if you have 1 or more sandworms in the conflict. Draw an intrigue card. It's pretty strong. And lead the way. We don't know how the sandworms are going to exactly work, but yet, but that sounds good. And then drawing a card. Whoa, what happened there? Could I please zoom in a little more? There we go. Apologies. Reverend Mother Jessica turns spice into water. I think what I saw on the board here in just a little bit, I'll show you that water is a little bit more important than spice. And Gurney Halleck looks a little bit more like, you know, Beast Raban, maybe a balanced Beast Raban. And then Lady Margot Fenring has these little discs on a blue symbol. So looks like she gets to put spies places. That's, I think, what those are. And we've got this sweet deluxe edition, perhaps, sandworm token. And let's take a look at this. This is the 6-player mode. So we've got Hardy Warriors and Desert Mastery. No longer is it still suits. And this looks like an overlay that maybe gives you, just a little bit more variety, or puts more troops and effects on the board that they really want you to have. No idea what these things mean. I have no idea. It's like there's an arrow to the left or an arrow to the right, so you could decide which way you go, left or right. I don't know what this is, so we'll figure this out. There's probably going to be another board we don't see that's associated with this. So yeah, I don't know. 6 players. It's pretty cool. And High Council has this interesting thing. First, if you're first to go to High Council, look at there's 6 seats at High Council. If you're first to go there, you get this. Second, you get this. That's crazy. How does this work? I'm just wondering if like you actually get this bonus as well if you're second to go to High Council. I don't know. I have no idea. Okay, a couple other things you can notice about this board. There are these spaces here. These look like the spy spaces. That's kind of what I'm getting from Lady Margot Fenring. And they're connected to certain spaces. Now, again, I don't know how this exactly works or what these mean. Maybe they're related to infiltration. Maybe they give you bonuses if somebody goes there, or like if you have a flag. It can't be flags because they aren't all connected to flag spaces, but gives you a bonus, probably. Maybe lets you infiltrate there. That'd be kind of cool. That makes sense. The infiltration spaces kind of are tied to effects as opposed to specific cards. That'd be great. One of the things that always bothered me about Ixen Immortality is that as the addition of more infiltration spaces happened, or infiltration cards, then those cards just became the best cards, which was kind of annoying. So we have a couple new symbols here. We have this symbol here. I don't know what that means. There were mentions of contracts, which is a completely new idea. Or maybe it's an old idea that's been twisted to a new thing. Maybe it's you choose 3 or cards or something like that. I have no idea. This is tied here. There's a lot of stuff to unpack here. One thing, note, Conspire looks slightly different. It no longer has Solari. So that's interesting. And it looks like it might not cost 4 spice anymore. That'd be good. The Highliner space no longer gives you water, but it gives you troops. It is still, I think it's still called Highliner. It doesn't, maybe not. I can't quite tell that. I'm looking at pixels here. So I apologize if you're also squinting at your screen, but I am also squinting at my screen. But the fold space now just gives water. That is actually something that the community has been wondering about, because thematically makes more sense that you'd be getting water from the guild here. That's interesting. We have this. Okay, there's no more selective breeding in a sense. There's a new space that says something else and just gives you a card, and then it lets you put a spy down. That's really interesting. So if those spies turn out to be a very important part of the new Dune, then this space changes the whole scope of everything that we've been doing in this game. Pretty interesting. Okay, and then we have the new Hardy Warriors, which is no longer Hardy Warriors, but something. I can't read that. Gives you a troop and lets you trash a card, and that's for water. That's interesting too. Okay, so this was talking about like water might be more important here. Because now you actually are more incentivized to build a deck, and maybe the deck building aspects are more central and available to all players. That'd be awesome. I would love that. And then the final space that used to be still suits is now just draw a card. Okay. I mean, there's lots more card drawing. So one here, one here. There's one up here, which was the Mentat space, but looks like it might actually cost more, like 3 or 4. So that looks like a 4 Solari to me. And I don't know, actually, if this is a Mentat space anymore, if it's something else completely. Or maybe you choose these effects. Who knows? But there's some new symbol up here. And then it gives you a new thing. But then there's also, I think this is the Mentat symbol. It might not be. And then there's a drawing of cards symbol, maybe? It looks like a draw card symbol. Yeah, it looks like that. And here's our old friend Swordmaster, which has 2 symbols underneath the requirement. Please note. That's different. So maybe it costs Solari and you have to do a specific thing. Or it's in, I have no idea, but there's 2 symbols below that. And we still see that second place effect on the council. Okay, maybe that's an intrigue. Oh, is that intrigue? That's intrigue. For some reason, it looks kind of yellowish on my screen, but yeah, there's intrigue. You can do something to get intrigue. That's cool. Maybe it's trash an intrigue to get an intrigue. Trash an intrigue to get an intrigue. Ooh, is that what that says? That kind of does look like that, doesn't it? And then this space here gets you an intrigue and a persuasion. Hall of Oratory. That was the original space in the base game. So now Hall of Oratory now gives you a persuasion and an intrigue card. Wow. That's a game-changing space, actually. I think this might be my favorite new change that I've seen, is that the focal point has been spread around for the game. But before we had Carthag, right? This was Carthag in the base game, and that gave you an intrigue and troop. Now that seems to be spread around so that you don't have to really focus on 1 or 2 spaces. Now everything seems much better. Here, this used to be Carthag. It is still one of the banner spaces. I'm not sure if this is still Arakeen. It might not be. It might be just different desert spaces or different... I have no idea. We'll get to this in a second, but one thing that's interesting is now this is the space where you go to trade in spice for Solari, it looks like. So this has a question mark. This is pretty close. I can kind of see this. This is kind of question mark. And this is like spend a certain amount of spice to get 2 or another certain amount to get 3. Maybe it's 1 to get 2, 2 to get 3, something like that. That's really interesting. The Arakeen space is identical to what it used to be, so it's probably still Arakeen. And then the Imperial Basin space, also the same. It's now got this attachment, this spy space. So all the spaces, I think, have these spy spaces. That's so cool. The Haga Basin space and the Great Flat space no longer are called that. I think it's called Open Desert. I think it says Open Desert. And I don't know what this one says, but this is Open Desert. This one gives you 4 spice. 4 spice, not 3. So it's 1, 2, 4. But please note this costs 3 water to go to, not 2. So it's 0, 1, 3. Well, that's interesting. And the ways you get water are here. Is there any other way to get water? This space gives you water. We'll come back to that. And it has this, you can pay, looks like, maybe not. Maybe maybe it doesn't give you 4. Oh, no. Oh yeah, 4, and if you have a Maker's Hook, that's the Maker's Hook symbol. I know that, and we'll get to that in a second. You get a worm. And a worm is worth 3 power instead of 2 like a troop. It's probably going to function like a dreadnought. Right, where it's not a troop, it might be a unit. I'm not sure. Maybe it doesn't affect. Maybe it can't be affected by anything. That'd be nice if you couldn't like force it to retreat with a desert ambush. But yeah, there's some cool stuff here going on. You get to get spice, and then if you have a Maker's Hook, get more troops. So this makes these spaces incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. Now, if you have 3 water, you better watch out. That's like 6 power plus 2 more, that's 10 power. This is basically a Highliner now. Highliner and the Open Desert are basically the same thing, which is awesome. I'm guessing that this is also for, it's a little hard to see, but that would make sense if this was like 4 and that was 4. So they're kind of comparable. 10 power or 10 power. I don't know. But that's cool. Okay, a couple other things to note. This board has some wonky stuff going on around the original 3 city, or not the city, the safe locations, I guess you can call it, if you played Big Dune, Arakeen, Carthag, and the Imperial Basin. And there's a little symbol or a little space here for something. If you scroll down here, you can see that this here looks like it's supposed to go there. My guess is that this is a shield wall token. I don't know how it works, but maybe it's not. Maybe it's something similar to that. But it looks like it's a protective symbol for stuff. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but obviously I don't know how most of these new things work, but that seems very cool and thematically integrated now, and that these spaces have more meaning to the game. I'm really excited about that. There are also these symbols right here. These are the maker's hooks. You can see that right there. That's the maker's hook symbol. So if you have a maker's hook, you can turn in water into a thing, probably water into a worm. That's my guess for Desert Call. But could be something else. Could be maybe it's spice, who knows. And you put your maker's hook here. And I'm guessing that your maker's hooks are, so you have to get them. And I'm not sure how you do that, but you get them somewhere on the board, maybe. Maybe you have to earn them. Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, no idea. But basically you get them and they look like they just sit there and they just give you the ability to make makers, to little makers or big makers, or Shai Hulud, call Shai Hulud. So that's cool. Maybe some new intrigues will give you the ability to do that. Maybe some new cards will give you the ability to do that. Actually, no, just looking at this here, Wheels Within Wheels. Now, we talked about this earlier, and I said come back to it. This looks like the spy symbol having to do with these icons here, right? Because if we go down to Margot Fenring, she seems to be able to put this on one of those spy spaces. And then, you know, you will have some payoff cards that let you go to those spaces, maybe infiltrate to those spaces. That's my guess. So obviously your guess is as good as mine. Let me know down in the comments what you think those are. And it looks like this, I was talking about these contract symbols. This is supposed to, I think, the contract symbol for the guild is my guess, or Chom or something like that. And they seem to be tied to these two spaces here, either $3 or 2 cards, something like that. I'm not 100% sure how that works, but these seem to be tied to this space or this symbol in some way. Yeah, so we'll find out hopefully in the future. That's pretty exciting. The Chom area is interesting as well. So we have a contract space here, contract symbol, which is probably this or this. I'm not, or maybe it's this. Maybe it depends on where you have an agent. That's actually kind of cool. Maybe it's like if you have an agent on that space, also you get that bonus. So that could be it. Who knows? You get the draw card. We see a little spy symbol. And then up here on the top space, you see 5 Solari, and I think that is a wild influence bump. If that's a wild influence bump, then this is going to be quite interesting. This is kind of taking the place in some ways of shipping from Ix, and I think it's similar in a lot of ways, but there's a spice cost. I don't know what the spice cost is because this is pixelated, but you know, that looks like there's a spice cost. And finally, we have the Rally Troops space, the space that was Rally Troops, which is right here, has a Solari cost. Can't make it out in this image. I'll see if I can get another image. But it has a pay Solari to get troops, pay Solari to get troops, and I don't know what that little blue symbol is, but maybe it's a maker symbol. Yeah, so that's exciting. There's a lot of cool stuff here. What is this? Is that for the 6 players? There's like a white cube just chilling out over here. No, there's like blue and black. Blue and black. And then we have the 4 usual colors. There's like a white symbol here for something. A white token. I'm just looking around. I don't know what that is going to be, but that's cool. Really, really cool stuff. I'm excited so much for this. Well, that's going to do it for me today, everybody. This is just going to be a quick first look at Dune Imperium Uprising. Let us know what you think. Are you excited for a new standalone? Were you more excited for like more expansion content for Dune Imperium? I personally am ready to have a break from Immortality and Ix and do something new. And so this makes me very excited. I'm very, very, very happy that this is the direction that Paul Dennen and crew at Direwolf decided to go with this. It looks pretty exciting, interesting, and yeah, I'm hoping that when all said and done, we have an even better version of Dune Imperium than we had before. Thank you all. I'll see you next time. Take care.